Wait a second. Shit. I told you Katana's the best. Anyway, the success of SUPERHOT spawned a VR spin-off and a solo expansion, being the subjects of this video. So sit back as I dive into SUPERHOT VR and SUPERHOT Mind Control Elite to see what changed from the original and how its gameplay was expanded upon. First, we have VR, which is its own game and not a simple VR version. This game has a more arcadey feeling than the original, and has a lot of changes to the gameplay in order to suit the medium, such as the weapons. Since you're almost literally holding them, it wouldn't really make much sense having weapons that require two hands to hold. So now all the weapons are modified to be held in a single hand. These include the shotgun, assault rifle, and katana, turning into the sawed-off, Uzis, and knives respectively, with the pistol not really getting any changes. Your fist can now also kill enemies when they get up close, instead of having to do a 3-hit combo. From what I remember, I don't think many of the other melees made it in though. Throwables are also back, still as the random objects found around the map. Joining these are the shurikens and the previously mentioned knives, both killing when thrown at enemies. Now that all of these are one-handed, you can now dual wield, which is basically encouraged by the game. So why would I even mention this? Next off are the controls. I'm guessing in order to avoid motion sickness, they made it so you can't move from one spot, which sucks because even though the movement options were limited in the original, it was still one of my favorite things to do. You don't even get a teleport move or anything. Granted, they also made it so you can physically move your body out of the way of bullets and block them with your weapons. So now you can really reenact the Matrix if you're confident enough. Speaking of physically moving your body, this wouldn't be as SUPERHOT without the time slowing gimmick. The difficulty can now get easier or harder depending on how you control your reflexes, because this game can immediately turn to bullshit if you just started playing and your base instinct is to shoot as fast as you can. We also have the throwing. Now, I have the PSVR version of this, glowy balls and everything, meaning I have to press the zigzag button in the center of the controller in order to release items. This wouldn't be a problem if I was just dropping something, but nope, I have to throw them. I don't really know if I can describe this without shoving a controller in your face through the screen, but trust me, it's not natural. Now, let's talk about the level design. Practically just a bunch of shooting arenas with, color? What the in between? And don't worry, I'll talk about that in a bit. Basically, you get plopped into an arena and shoot all the enemies. After that, you grab this pyramid thing and proceed to the next area, until you end up in some hacker room. And for the first time in the series, there's more than just one color in white. I honestly don't know what to say about this stylistically, but what I can say that it is nice world building, especially when you reach up to put the headset on. Even though you already have a headset on in real life. Ooh. This all leads into the story. Instead of getting addicted to a game and manipulated by an entity into joining a cult, you're a hacker, part of a group who tries to take down this entity, hence the mention of ending up in a hacker room multiple times. Before I bore you with more speculation, I'm just going to link a game theory video because he does a much better job diving into the lore and shite I don't really care to talk about. Overall, this game just isn't my thing. It's got some neat stuff, but it's got some things that can get pretty annoying and stray just a bit too much from the original game. Though it's still fun, and speedruns are at least pretty entertaining. So don't take this whole thing as a negative, as I can at least see why this game did so well, and this is still a must-buy for any VR system. I just don't think that it's entirely for me. It's still the SUPERHOT we all know and love, so go try it out if you have a VR headset. Now, let's talk about the conundrum that is Mind Control Elite, called a solo expansion by the developers. Apparently, it counts as both DLC for the original and its own game. I got it as its own thing because I don't have the original on Steam. Oh yeah, I should probably mention that this game is currently in early access, and at the time of recording, I'm playing on the 4.0 beta, so things can change drastically in one way or another. Almost every time they do release these major updates, they effectively reset progress on the campaign because of the fact. Now, let's talk about what changed. The base gameplay hasn't really changed as drastically as VR, but there are some pretty big elements that have changed, such as progression. This game introduces roguelike elements, basically randomized stuff to make each run through a game unique. So instead of going from level to level killing every enemy in a room, you enter a cluster and go through a bunch of randomly selected levels, killing a certain number of enemies each. I think the number is 7 or 8. In between some of these levels are data cluster things that allow you to choose between 2 randomly selected hacks, or power-ups, such as throwables killing, instant reloads, and bullets bouncing off walls. Some of these hacks, though, need to be unlocked in the new Mario 3-esque level select, which also includes these weird text boxes about something. I don't know, you tell me. Also new to this is health. Instead of dying in one hit, you have 3 hit points, which can be extended to 4 if you find a hack for it. This is balanced out by you having to restart the cluster all over again if you do die, and trust me, you will. And you will hate the lack of checkpoints, but fortunately, you will get used to it, and you will feel more skilled for it. There's cores as well, sort of like hacks, except you select which one to use before the cluster. You can also select between all cores instead of 2 randomly selected ones. And you don't lose these if you die. Think of these as level buffs. And if you played the original, some of them could remind you of its challenge mode, which I forgot to mention last time. Sorry. Enemies are also changed. Instead of just plain red guys that are only defined by the weapon they wield, there's new additions to boot, such as white colored enemies, who are mostly indestructible and can only be killed by shooting their one exposed red part, whether that be their head, arm, or leg. There's also spiky enemies, who explode when killed, shooting spikes all over that can kill other enemies or damage you if you aren't careful. There's also these mind things, which can practically work the same as the spiky guy, but can't move, though it can explode if you get too close. Next are what I like to call bastards, because that's what you'll say when you come across one. As you go through the game, you'll enter these hallways that basically tell you to get fucked, because now these things are going to randomly pop up in your levels when you least suspect it, and give you a heart attack. Why I say this is because these assholes can't die, and can ruin your run if you're not careful. Make sure you avoid them like the plague. The other challenge is the things they can do to catch up, whether it's dashing to you, throwing a katana at you, and downright switching bodies. Now, let's talk about the weapons. Other than the shotgun, none have changed all that much from the original. Once the shotgun is out of ammo, you can use it as a melee weapon. Now, for what's added, there's a new bolt gun, which has 3 ammo and shoots bolts that travel faster than bullets. You can even pick up the bolts to use as pointy throwables. Next is a returning shurikens and knives, which have been repurposed into throwing knives. Last is a new melee, the plank of wood with a nail. Last thing to talk about is the story. It's basically the same addiction plot as the original, though since finishing the beta results in an unlockable infinite mode, there's not much in terms of an ending, which I'm sure the developers would add eventually, as well as resetting progress again. And that's mostly it. Overall, I really love this game. There's not all that much that I can truly complain about, other than some nitpicks and the fact that it makes me fear that my Surface Go will explode. Though that's not really the developer's fault. I just wanted to take a jab at my laptop. I'm currently looking for a new one, but oh wait, I can't because of this fucking quarantine. And that's the SUPERHOT series. A stylish, refreshing, and innovative shooter. It's unique and is the definition of simple, yet satisfying gameplay. The story here is like the story in the new Doom games. A bit confusing on the outside and secondary to the gameplay, but there's more to offer if you dive into it a bit. If I were to rank each entry in order from least to most favorite, it would be like this. But even the entries I like the least are still worth a look, because at its core, it's still the same satisfying gameplay. There's no wonder this series was able to get such a small yet passionate community on sites such as Reddit, Twitter, and Discord. I'm looking forward to seeing what more the developers have to offer with SUPERHOT in the future. That's it for my take on one of my favorite game series. If you haven't, go pick one up, or even wait for a deal if you want to. Hell, I got the original with Xbox Live Gold. You'll probably be able to find a discount thanks to the you-know-what pandemic. And remember, mind is software. Thanks for watching, and if you like what you watch, make sure to like the video and comment down below what you think about the SUPERHOT series. If you want to see more content like this, subscribe to the channel and ring the notification bell to get notified whenever a new video is uploaded. Also, check out my website to see more of what I do, which also includes where you can find my other social media, such as Instagram and Twitter. Anyway, I'll see you next time.